Hello Belinda and good morning. This is your Breville drill boiler, model BES920 in brushed stainless steel. In this video I'm going to be making my morning latte on it, so I'll be testing everything from the hot water tap to the brewing to the steamer, making basically a full walkthrough on how to use this model. Well, I'm not sure if this is your first coffee machine or if you've made coffee on these machines before, but this is a fully manual coffee machine, and it's probably one of Breville's better units. So it's got two heaters, one for the steamer, one for the brewing head, and it's got very precise settings controls on the menus, in the screen. You can control the temperature, the pre-infusion pressure. You can even tell the machine to wake up in the morning before you wake up. So the machine has quite a few features that are very that are noteworthy, and I think you'll enjoy them. So I'm just washing my cup here. When I first wake up and turn on the machine, usually it takes about 5 minutes to heat up, this model. Otherwise, like I said, you can use the auto on feature and it'll be ready when you're ready. So let's say I wake up at 7 a.m. I can tell the machine to wake up at 6:30 or 6:45 so that by 7 it's nice and hot. Once it reaches full temperature, it'll say 93 and all the buttons will be lit up. Yeah, like I said, it takes generally 5 minutes. And you can use the machine straight away, but what I recommend is that you run a blank shot. So a blank shot means that you run some hot water into the handle and into the cup. Sorry, my machine is getting a bit of a tantrum here. So you run some hot water into the handle and into the cup to warm them up, and also acts like a bit of a cleaning, like a flush, a cleaning cycle of sorts. With that hot water, it cleans up all the coffee grounds and oils that are stuck in your basket, stuck in your group head. So I'm just washing my handle here. This is the one from my machine. It's actually a similar machine in terms of accessories, and it has a built-in grinder, my machine, but it's the same handle size. So I'll be using my own portafilter and grinder, because obviously this machine does not have a built-in grinder, the drill boiler. But yeah, so I'm just cleaning it up quickly. So the warm-up procedure for this model, as I would recommend, is you would lock in the handle, empty without any coffee, get your cup underneath, and press the single cup button. It'll give you about 20 or 30 seconds of hot water. Like I said, it will clean whatever's stuck inside here and in here. And it's going to bring everything up to temperature, the internals, as well as the group head, as well as the handle, as well as your cup and basket. Just make sure everything is reset to factory settings. Cool. Perfect. Once you do that once or twice, you can move your cup away, get your portafilter and dry it. So I'm using the single basket, which is the one that your machine comes with. The single basket takes about 10 grams of coffee. You can buy the double shot basket separately. It's not included with this one. That's why it's a bit cheaper than the others. I'm going to turn on my machine here just to get some ground coffee. So you'll have to get a grinder and good quality beans, and you have to get the right settings on them as well. You can't just get any pre-ground coffee beans and make coffee straight away, because you may run into troubles. So the recommendation for an espresso recipe is a 30-second shot, or a 25-second shot at least. That gives you a 2-to-1 ratio. What does that mean? That means if you're making a single shot, you want about 20 to 30 grams, or 20 to 25 grams of coffee in your cup from this single dose of 10 grams. So this is using Aldi dark beans. Aldi are the only supermarket brand I would trust. They make really good coffee for not an expensive amount, and they're usually freshly roasted here in Melbourne. So by the time you get them from the shelves, they're not too old. Unlike other brands like Coles and Woolworths, they're not very fresh. They're usually actually pretty stale when you buy them. and then you make coffee and you find that there's not a lot of crema and the coffee's rushing out and pouring too quickly with very little body and a stringent taste. That's what's happening. So you have to use good quality beans and you have to set up the settings correctly. If you have a grinder, you'll be able to adjust the grind size finer or coarser. A finer, smaller grind size will slow down your shot. A larger, coarser grind size will speed up your shot. So the machine goes by time, so it goes by a number of seconds brewed and not by volume. So it'll always aim for like a 25-second brew or a 30-second brew, depending on which button you press. So that's not a variable, that's always fixed. What's going to be a variable is your grind size. So if you have the grind size too small, what you'll notice is at the end of your shot timer, you'll have very little amount of coffee in the handle. On the other hand, if your grind size is too large, what you'll notice is at the end of the shot timer, you have too much coffee in the handle. We don't want either. So you want it to be perfect, like I said, around 25 grams in 25 seconds. So I'm going to lock in the handle. I've got the dose in there already, nicely ground and polished by my machine. If you have your own grinder, obviously it won't be automatic. You'll have to. I'll just show you what I mean. You'll have to click this in. It'll grind you the dose. You have to make sure that the dose is correct. It's not too large or too small. You have to press it down with the tamper. So the concept that I like to use is you want to spread it around with your hand before pressing and make sure it's level and flush with the top of the basket, or basically full to the brim before you press. And then after you press, you'll notice that it'll obviously shrink and compact down, and this silver part of your tamper will correspond to the depth of the coffee. So again, to summarize, if you have the correct amount of coffee, this silver part on the tamper should disappear after you've pressed the coffee down. Does that make sense? If you have a scale, you can measure with the scale and it'll tell you about 9 to 11 grams of coffee in the single basket. If you have much more than that, then maybe something is wrong. Make sure it's nice and level. Make sure the edge is clean without any coffee powder, and then lock it in. But my machine makes it quite easy. So I've locked it in. I've emptied my cup from any hot water. If you like to add sugar or flavors or sweetener, add them now at this stage to help everything mix nicely. So you also have a hot water tap here, down there. So you turn this on. It'll give you clean hot water straight from the boiler. So you can use this for a long black Americano style coffee. You can use it to brew a tea bag. I personally use it to help my sugar dissolve. So I add a little bit of hot water to help this scoop of sugar dissolve and mix nicely with everything. Mix it up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset my scale so we can measure the output as well. Like I said, we're aiming for 25 milliliter shot or 25 gram shot in 25 seconds. That's for the single. For the double, it's a bit more. It's around 40 grams in 30 seconds. Let's press the single button. Keep an eye on the flow and keep an eye on the timer as well as the gauge. The gauge should be up to 8 or 9 bars. There we go. Oh, it's going up there, so it's 9.5, 10. So it's a good, it's a decent pressure. Maybe for this machine it's a little bit too slow. So what I might do is I might run another one, just to make sure that we're doing all the right things for you. So that's 30 seconds brew time, and let's see how much we got. We got 15 grams, not too far. So my machine, like, this setting is usually okay for it. My machine runs a little bit longer than 30 seconds. But what I might do, just for perfection's sake, what I might do is I might run it again. I'll take the double shot, that's fine. I'll drink 2 shots of coffee just for you, Melinda. See all the compromises that I have to do. Just kidding. I don't mind another coffee. So I'm just going to clean the handle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flush it again. So just clean off all the coffee from inside there and all the coffee in here. Now, on my machine, I'm going to increase the grind size, and you'll be able to see that as well. I'm going to increase the grind size from, like my machine says 27, I'll go up to 28 or 29. So it'll be a larger grind size. Let's do 29. The grind size will increase, it'll speed up the shot. There we go, it looks good. Like I said, just clean the edges. If you have, like I said, a manual tamper, a manual grinder, you'll be having to, oh, where's it, dripping water? Gather the coffee around, flatten it with your finger, then flatten it with the tamper, and press nice and firm. See the silver part on the tamper disappears when I've got the correct dose of coffee. That's what should happen. If you press the coffee down and then you can still see some of that silver part poking out, then that's too much coffee, then you'll have to trim out or get rid of the top layer. Okay, a lot of talking. Let's make some coffee. I'm going to reset my scale again. I might add some more sugar, you know, I'm drinking more coffee. It's only fair that I have more sugar. Reset everything. And then let's do the single shot again. I suspect that it will run quicker because we increased the grind size. That's a logical thing. Keep an eye on the gauge, it should be a bit lower, the flow should be a bit quicker, but the time will be the same. Like I said, the machine gives you by time brewing. So a bit quicker actually. The pressure is still high, it's triggering the overpressure valve, which is good. So we've got 10.5 bars of pressure still. Very nice flow, it's coming out of both spouts. Nice and symmetrical. Cool. We got 19 grams. That's fine, I'll leave it there. That's basically a 2-to-1 ratio. So to summarize, when you make coffee, you need to have a good quality bean and the correct dose and correct grind size. Aim the dose to be about 10 grams in this single shot basket that's in your machine. Aim for the grind size to be, it's hard to give a recommendation on grind size. I mean, just start from the middle of the range, whatever your grinder allows. So if your grinder goes from 1 to 30, start at 15. If your grinder goes from 0 to 50, go to 25. So halfway, make a coffee and see what comes out. If what you get is about 20 grams, perfect. So we got 19 grams. It's pretty good. If you get 10 grams only or 5 grams of coffee after 30 seconds of brewing, that's too little and you need to speed it up by increasing the grind size. If you get too much coffee, so much more than the 20 grams that we're aiming for, that's too slow. So if you get, if you get too much, it's too quick. If you get too much, like let's say you're getting 35, 40, 50 grams of coffee in that 30-second brew time, and that's way too much and it might taste too sour and not great. So you want to have the correct settings to have a nice tasting coffee, basically. Alrighty, that's enough of that. Let's do some milk. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, I'm going to grab some milk and then we'll start that soon. Okay, so this is the jug that your machine comes with. It's in good condition. It's enough for one person. So I filled it with fresh cold milk from up to this spout curve. Just below this spout curve, it's a good rule of thumb to follow. So that's where one dose stops. Obviously your machine is a dual boiler unit, so you can always do milk and coffee at the same time. Got two different pumps and two different boilers, so that's the beauty. But for the video, just to focus on one thing at a time, I've done them separately. But in the real world, you'll be able to start your shot and froth your milk at the same time. Okay, I like to purge the wand, so just to get rid of any water or old steam inside, not old steam, like old water, to clean it up. And then with the milk jug, you want to it's hard to show on video from one angle, so I recommend watching other YouTubers to teach you how to do this properly. But basically, you want to put it at an angle, you want to put the wand at close to the edge, and you want to keep spinning the milk. And the foam quantity will depend on how deep or shallow you keep this with respect to the milk. So if you put this very deep in the milk, you won't get much foam. If you keep this very shallow, you'll get a lot of foam. And if you want anything in between, you put it in between shallow and deep. It's hard to show in video, but I'll try my best. So keep the milk spinning. Bring the jug down to incorporate air and to make the wand more shallow. Maybe hold this position for 10 or 15 seconds. And then once you're done with incorporating air, raise the jug. So now I'm just spinning the milk and heating it up without incorporating any more foam or any more air, because we don't want too much foam for a latte. And then when the jug is too hot to the touch, when I can't touch it for too long, that's generally about 60 degrees, stop it there. Very important before you do anything else. Wipe this and then clean it with a towel. So I'm going to grab myself a wet towel. And then I'm going to scrub this clean, because obviously it's a piece of metal with steam, really hot steam going through it, so it will stick to the milk very quickly. And if you don't clean it straight away, it might be stuck forever. Then the other important thing is to purge. It cleans the holes and the insides from any residual milk. If you don't do the purge, what will happen is the next day you'll try to turn on the steamer and nothing will come out because it's clotted with milk, basically, like a milk clot. Doesn't sound very appetizing, does it? All right, very, very good smooth milk out of this machine. I'm always impressed by the dual boiler's frothing capability. It's better than my machine on the left, I'll be honest with you. And it's even better than the Oracles, I will be honest as well. The more expensive automatic machines don't do as good of a milk quality as this one. Mix up all the sugar and all the crema. It's important that you mix everything up. It just makes everything more pleasant, otherwise the first few sips might be bitter if you don't mix it up. Let me show you how smooth this looks. It looks like wet paint, very nice and clean. Not too watery, not too thick. It's hard to do on video with one hand, so I'm gonna pause the video and I'm just gonna put it back here, and then I'll pour it down. There we go. Yeah, so it looks like wet paint is how I would describe it. Very nice and smooth. That looks very delicious. So with some practice you can do latte art easily on this machine. It's one of the best for latte art. And even if you don't do the art, it'll taste great. That's the most important thing is how it tastes. And it tastes really good. Let me take off this sticker here. Not sure why I left it there. Yeah, it looks really good. I'm definitely looking forward to having it. I'm sure you can do the same coffees and better on this model. Thanks for watching, Belinda. I'll see you soon. Drive safe. And any questions, please don't hesitate. Cheers.